What's up guys, this is Anime Crossover. I'm back with a new episode of Naruto was the Red Flash Part 33, and if you did enjoy the video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
The Vaught Tower Homelander and the Deep waited in the 7 meeting room for Madeline Stillwell, whom they had summoned to discuss an urgent matter. She came in after taking care of another meeting for their criminal analytics team. Still no word on the mystery soup who had been seen all over the country but seemed to gravitate around the tri-state New York area, so perhaps there was something there. "Alright, I got your message. Where is the fire?" she inquired.
No, not fire. Water. Just ask my little guppy here. You can show her, Homelander said to Deep. He stood up and walked around confidently, which was entertaining. Well, a very good friend of mine found this,
Homelander exclaimed as the Deep unlocked a metal box. It was a porpoise. "A fucking porpoise found this at the bottom of the harbor. Go ahead, don't be shy." When Madeline opened the package, she discovered a big black garbage bag full with guts and body parts. "Is that translucent, Jesus Christ? Do you still think we have nothing to worry about?" Homelander inquired. "How did they get through his skin? What kind of lunatic?"
Not a maniac. Smart, actually. Very smart. Hey, Deep, what can't I see through? Homelander inquired sarcastically.
Deep responded with, "Zinc, Homelander." "Correct. And what's the box made of, Deep?" Homelander inquired, but he didn't know if he was asking rhetorically again, so he simply replied,
"Zinc." They also knew we'd find translucent, or what's left of him, at some point, so they were just buying time, Homelander pointed out.
"Why do you say that?" she questioned. "I'm glad you asked," Homelander said, motioning the Deep to open the box entirely so she could see the words "coming for you" written in black spray paint. "Whoever it was. They just declared war, and I think I know who it is, or more accurately, what it is." Homelander retrieved a photograph from the table and handed it to Madeline. It was a still from a train's race, showing him and Shockwave in full view of the high-speed camera, but there was also an orange and white lightning blur ahead of both of them. Homelander then handed her camera stills from numerous crimes and accidents that had the same blurring, and the final image showed it rushing past the plaza where he and Maeve were meant to stop the active shooter but didn't. The camera still caught it racing right past Maeve and the SWAT sergeant, who had no idea it was there. Homelander informed her, "It appears that we are not the only people in town with powers. You know, I thought going to a trains race would be boring, but now I'm glad I went. Apparently, this blur has been racing around the city for the past few days but no one has been able to get a good look at him. Not even the high-speed cameras at the racetrack could get a good view, but they managed to record its speed, 650 meters per second, which is twice as fast as a train or any runner has gone. When we had more information, and we don't know if this blur is connected to Translucent's disappearance," Madeline explained, only for Homelander to scoff. "Oh, but I think there is. Translucent vanishes, and this mysterious blur appears, and I'm not one to believe in coincidences. He's out there, coming after us. So we go after him first," Homelander said, indirectly threatening her to follow his lead on this. "I believe your private conversations with crime analytics about this mystery blur have come to an end." Stillwell nodded in worry, knowing that things were about to get complicated. Homelander was close, and there was no proof that this blur had murdered Translucent. Was the death of Translucent and whoever killed him a problem? Of course, but this blur may not be to blame. So far, the blur has been racing about the city and country, assisting people, and the photos still from a trains race demonstrated that it was quicker than any runner they currently have on staff at Vaught. This may be a terrific opportunity for Vaught. Dot and Madeline Stillwell would take advantage of whoever it was. Manhattan's secret CIA headquarters, New York City. Nobody knew that the CIA had a covert base in one of Manhattan's many high-rise buildings, where they oversaw operations and handled logistical concerns for the agency. Susan Rayner, the current CIA deputy director, stepped into the Manhattan office with her daily cup of coffee. She opened the door to see Billy Butcher leaned against a file cabinet, reading over some files. "Good morning, Deputy Director," he said, only to have Susan drop her bag into a chair. "How did you get in here?" she questioned. "You're like the fucking mold on my laundry room tiles, you scape it off, and it returns." Butcher observed as she took up the phone and tapped a button. "Sounds like you've got a bit of a moisture problem, love." "Security, please." Butcher hung up the phone by pressing the switch hook. "I can stop them from getting soups in the military." What makes you think I care? Personally, I can't wait until they're in Syria, she said, scowling. I'll bet, he said, taking a package from his jacket and removing some images. Last week, a train, mainlining before the big race. His fuck buddy, Popclaw, pinning the same stuff. They call it Compound V. It's some kind of steroid or booster for soups. Jacks 'em right up. Now, word gets out that soups are nothing but a bunch of juice junkies. No one's gonna want him in national defense. Susan took the images with a neutral expression, but she was intrigued by what they could signify. Got a sample? Not quite yet. This could be heroin. It could be anything, she said. You don't trust me, Susan, and that shocks and saddens me, Butcher said. Really? I'm sure. Speaking of which, I haven't seen translucent around anywhere. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? She inquired. Cunt's invisible. He could be standing in that fucking corner right now, plugging one out for all we know. Look, you think soups are cunts now? Just wait until they're wearing camo. I mean, what's to stop Sergeant Homelander from killing a couple of 100,000 Chinese? How are you gonna try him for war crimes? He's gonna murder the bloody lot of us before he steps one foot in The Hague. You're really working on this one, huh? She inquired. Just being a good citizen, love, he explained. Oh, I know. Okay. You get me some hard proof, something actionable that I can use, and maybe I'll throw you a few bucks. For your operating costs, she said, smiling. But if you fuck me on this, you'll be drinking your own piss at a black site for the rest of your life. Say you understand. See, Susan, this is why it never worked out with us. You can't have two alpha males, because someone's gonna. Say you fucking understand, she said, halting him. Before departing, he answered, I understand. She grabbed her bag, got out the special encrypted phone she used to talk to Naruto, and dialed his number. She waited a few dial tones for him to answer. It's me. I have something I could use your expertise on, and we need to meet. Roger that. Same place as before, pondered Naruto. I'll be there in an hour, she said before hanging up the phone. With Naruto. Naruto was across the street from a building fire in Seattle, which he extinguished while also rescuing all of the residents. He was enjoying a burger while watching the police and fire departments search around, puzzled as to who may have put out the fire before they arrived. Naruto proceeded down the street, continuing to eat his burger, before ducking into an alley and super accelerated away, returning to Manhattan. He arrived to the same park bench, carrying a drink carrier, 2 cups of coffee, and a little bag. He sat down, removed his muffin from its bag, and began eating while sipping his coffee. He stood there, people watching, until Susan came, which she did a few minutes later. Coffee? Fresh from a local place in Seattle? It's very delicately roasted and tastes delicious. You went to Seattle for coffee? She asked, taking the other cup of coffee. She had to admit that was really tasty after taking a sip. Sure. After putting out a massive building fire and saving people. So, what's up? He asked, and she pulled out some photos showing a train and an unknown woman carrying vials of Compound V. Where'd you get these? She said, a confidential source. Billy Butcher, isn't it? Based on what little I've read about the boys, Butcher is the obsessive one with an axe to grind against soups, so him keeping up his work against them like a vigilante makes sense, Naruto suggested, but Susan kept a stoic face to avoid answering him. It's fine. Who's the girl? Popclaw, a train's girlfriend. If the pictures are right and everything my source told me, they took it and it amps them up like a steroid. What I don't understand is how. I thought you said Compound V is a serum to make soups, so why would 2 soups with powers take it now? She asked as he looked over the pictures. Well, the serum is similar to a steroid in that it acts on a genetic level to create superpowers in an individual. Taking it as an adult would not cause an excess mutation. The effects it would have on a soup would be similar to that of steroids or drugs in that it would grant a temporary boost in strength, speed, and might increase the powers of whatever soup is injected with it, but again, the effects would wear off after a few hours. However, it does make sense in light of what I saw at the race. What race? She inquired. The race a train had with Shockwave. I was there, but you probably know that given the media attention my blur has made. Before the race started, I saw a train speed away and speed back in the blink of an eye. When he got back, he was jittery and all amped up like he took something. At first, I thought it was coke or adrenaline, but it was clearly Compound V, Naruto explained. It would make him fast enough to win the race and plow right through a human girl like she was a water balloon. When a train was running through the city and killing the girl, he was probably high on Compound V. Susan speculated. The question is, does Vaught know what he's doing and what their plan is? Giving a train an extra steroid boost can't be what they have in mind, and if this stuff is as secure and guarded as you say it is, then there has to be something we're missing. Think you can track down a train and figure out what's going on? I've been fortunate so far, and I hope it continues, he said, handing her the photos back. I'll keep you posted on anything I find, and how's your case against Vaught coming along? Vaught's gonna be shitting their pants when we're done with them, she said, and he laughed. That's a fun visual, Naruto said as he stood up and went away, shortly followed by Susan. He tracked down Popclaw's address and scouted her house before breaking into her network. While doing so, he also checked traffic cameras near the residence to see if anything jumped out, which is how he came across images of Billy Butcher. He recognized him from the boy's CIA files. He and another boys member Frenchie, not sure if that was his real name because it was all that was on the file, were seen entering the apartment complex, indicating that the boys were back in business. He was wondering how far they had progressed and when and if he should go visit them. Maybe they could collaborate. Naruto sat on a bench and examined his digital infiltration. Nothing came up in Popclaw's email or computer other than what appeared to be her trying to make ends meet and re-enter the public eye after her Vaught deal expired years ago. Take away her superpowers, and she resembled an actress attempting to recover the spotlight of her past. He also discovered emails from sponsors, indicating that she was a recovering addict, and he felt sorry for her. Sure, Naruto knew that Vaught had to be stopped and that some of the soups were crazy, but not all of them. In truth, he was developing a list of soups he thought may aid him with his quest. Granted, Annie was the only real person on that list, so it wasn't quite a list. When he noticed a train approaching, he put on his headphones and turned on the digitally connected cameras so he could listen in. A train stepped in, upset, but Popclaw walked over and kissed him. Hey, there, baby. What did you do? What the hell are you talking about? Who did you tell about Compound V? Nobody. Why? Wah. Because you're the only other person who knew I had it, and that I was taking it. I never told anyone. You're being paranoid. Who else did you fucking tell? Don't yell at me. Listen to me. Sit down. Look, you know I love you. I've loved you since the first time we met. Oh really? I overheard you during the race. No girlfriend. Open to offers. Come on. I have to say those things. You know this. They make me. It's my brand. Come here. You remember when you relapsed and I stayed and rubbed your back. Cleaned up your puke. I'm there for you, always. I know, baby. Please tell me who you told, because we're in big trouble. Big trouble. I didn't tell anyone. Either way, you're going to have to pack a bag with everything you need. Why? And where are we going? I'll take care of this, but first I need to get you somewhere safe before Homelander finds out. I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you, too. Naruto observed their talk and took note of their tones and body language. The two appeared to care about each other, but a train was clearly unable to totally commit to Popclaw if he was lying about her. He was relieved that he and Linda had gotten along so well. If there was one thing he was certain of, it was that he would never hurt her or anybody else he cared about. Naruto could tell Popclaw was lying but did a fantastic job of concealing it. She was an accomplished actress. Whatever is happening on with a train and Compound V must be more than him and his girlfriend getting high. He claimed Homelander was involved, and apparently something happened that made him paranoid, so he set up a search to pick up any mention of strange deaths, drug-related occurrences, or disclosure of covert criminal hideouts on police radio. There could be a link, and whatever Homelander was doing with Compound V and what a train was doing, something was wrong. Nothing seemed to happen after that besides him and Popclaw leaving, so he called Susan and told her what had happened. What do you think Homelander is doing with Compound V? She questioned as Naruto went past the swarm of pedestrians outside an alleyway where the cops and paramedics were, but a train was also present. He arrived a few minutes ago, telling cops that this was a gang hideout and that he was part of a wider takedown. This was the location he arrived at after speaking with Popclaw and leaving for the airport, therefore everything was linked. Naruto had arrived a few minutes before a train and had scouted the area. Aside from the dead and destruction, he noticed an empty syringe with residues of a blue liquid in a package that resembled the polio vaccination cartons distributed by Samaritan's Embrace to hospitals. I'm not sure, but what I'm finding is getting more and more interesting. A train showed up at the aftermath and he's taken control of the scene. He told the police it was a gang hit and part of a larger operation he's shutting down. Naruto explained. A gang hit seems like a minor offense for one of the 7, Susan observed. Exactly. I managed to scope out the place before he arrived. Other than the carnage, I found an empty box that looks a lot like the polio vaccine boxes Samaritans embrace ships out and an empty syringe with drops of a blue liquid inside. Either this place was home to a compound V dealer and they're using a super steroid like heroin, or a train dropped it off here. I'm more inclined to think the latter. Yeah, but why? What good would compound V be to them? Susan asked, looking over the files and data her team of scientists ran on compound V as well as the data Naruto gave her about its tests on babies that eventually created soups. Naruto, could they have been using that compound V on a person to make a soup? Given the carnage I witnessed, it was clearly not committed by a normal human, Naruto added, and it's possible. My tests show that babies or children have a higher success rate in developing powers, but it's not impossible in adults. There's still a 1 in 4 chance that the process even works, and even less that it would gift powers that are actually good enough, especially considering all the pain compound V would cause the subject. That this might not be all Vaught. I listened to what you recorded and a train said before Homelander finds out, not Madeline Stillwell, Stan Edgar, or anyone else at Vaught. He mentions the leader of the 7, which means that either they are staying as far away from this as possible, which could be true, or that this is Homelander's thing. Maybe it's both. Keep on a train and tail him. Find out everything you can and keep me in the loop, especially if Homelander and Vaught are brought up again. I know you have superpowers and are fast, but keep your head on a swivel. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Will do. I'll keep in touch, Naruto said as he hung up the phone and followed a train as he sprinted away. A train made its way through the city, eventually arriving at a nail parlor where police were investigating a brutal murder. Naruto investigated and discovered the body of a woman who had been mauled to death, but only one. This was not a mass murder, but rather a targeted murder. Whoever was doing this was looking for specific persons. Police said it was another gang strike on the term a train. While enjoying a pretzel outside on the sidewalk, Naruto spotted Butcher walk out of the shop with Frenchie before heading over to a van where they met someone else. Naruto recognized him from the boys' files as M, his nickname. He plugged in his headphones and triggered his watch's scanner, which caught up on their chat. A train saw me a fucking week ago. What if he made me? Butcher wondered. He didn't see you. Listen, Butcher, that's easy for you to say, but I've got people. Oh, and I don't, Butcher clarified. Look, Vaught didn't send a soup to do a gang hit, he was looking for the female. Anyway, Frenchie said of who was the woman? Roberta Cho, mother of 4, loved Mexican food and smuggled in a ton of Pacific immigrants, explained. Like our little girl. Butcher and Mother's Milk felt the wind brush against them and a strange touch, but they didn't see anyone. They believed it was a train at first, but then they watched him walk out of the salon and incredibly fast away. What the hell was that? Butcher wondered, not realizing he and had been fitted with a tracker and a listening device. What makes you think I need your help? I'm sure a train ran to you the second I was done with him. He did. And you easily beat him. You can take his place. You can lead the 7, Madeline continued, attempting to persuade him. I can offer you the world. Name your price, and I will make it happen. Want to be a hero to the masses? Vaught can help with that. Millions of dollars in adoring fans? Vaught can give you anything you want. What makes you think I'd work for a company as morally bankrupt as Vaught? You must be if you think you can go against Vaught, Madeline cautioned, and Naruto chuckled menacingly. You must be incredibly naive or stupid to believe that. Given your faith in Homelander, it makes sense. I know what he is. A monster. And you're the one who has his leash. Let's see if he can be summoned like a dog. Naruto then threw her across the room into her television, where she crashed to the ground. She had cuts on her face and hands when her door burst open, letting in a Homelander who only saw Madeline. Get him. She yelled as Homelander rushed out the window after using his X-ray vision to see the lightning blur dashing out of the building and down the street. Homelander flew down the street as fast as he could, but the blur was faster. The blur then made a sharp left turn toward the Hudson, which Homelander missed and had to turn swiftly to catch up. Naruto had dashed out of the city and down the Hudson River to the Atlantic Ocean, trailed by Homelander. The leader of the 7 was flying at Mach 2 or slightly faster, but Naruto was going at Mach 3. He was moving slowly on purpose to see how fast Homelander was. The more he tried this Superman knockoff, the more he discovered. Knowledge was important, and he was learning right now that while Homelander was fast, he wasn't that fast. Homelander's typical confident stoicism gave way to rage and frustration as this lightning bolt raced him out of New York City and down the coast to New Jersey. He shot a burst of heat vision to stop him, but the blur quickly moved to the side and he missed. He shot several more bursts, all of which were utterly missed. Homelander's rage grew, so he fired a continuous intense beam of heat vision, but the blur continued to evade it. Homelander's frustration got the best of him, and he ended up slicing through several boats anchored at neighboring piers while attempting to hit the moving lightning blur. He was irresponsible. Naruto then raced in a big circle around Homelander, essentially creating a giant whirlwind. He then increased his pace, creating not only a massive vortex in the ocean, but also causing the water to surge up like a waterspout surrounding Homelander. All the Seven's leader could see was a lightning trail and a blur race around him on the lake as he hovered in the air and tried to laser him, but his heat vision only evaporated some water and the blur remained. Homelander needed to keep himself from being pulled up as the wind vacuum increased in the waterspout. When he noticed the blur slowing down, he unleashed a tremendous burst of heat vision. The blur did slow down for him to get a better look, but all he saw was a vibrating outline of a guy leaping into the air. Homelander's heat vision was still out, but the blur threw out his arm and struck him in the chest with a lightning bolt. Homelander was flung back and fell into the ocean, causing a loud thunder crack. He appeared to sink for several seconds before flying out of the water in wrath. His hair was standing up from static electricity, his face and suit were scorched, and he was clutching his chest in distress. That lightning bolt hurt, and he was ready to make the blur bleed for it, but when he turned around, he realized he was alone. There was no trace of the blur. Homelander looked about but saw nothing, and even when he used his supervision, there was no trace of the blur. "Rahhh!" Homelander yelled, firing a burst of heat vision into the sky before fleeing in rage. Naruto the First. Homelander 0 points. XXXXX line break. A few days later, a memorial service was held for the victims of the plane disaster, which Vaught funded and presided over. The victims' relatives, as well as Homelander and Queen Maeve, were in attendance. Naruto was watching things from the opposite side of the park where the ceremony was taking place, using his goggles to see everything from a distance. He could see everything and hear everything since he had placed several listening bugs around. Following Naruto's scare technique against Madeline and his brief struggle with Homelander, Vaught was circling the wagons. They hadn't mentioned a strange new hero, so Naruto assumed they were still trying to figure out who he was and how to defeat him. He was a major menace if he was able to outrun Homelander and hit him. Vaught's executives and higher-ups were working on it while the company went about its business as usual. Butcher and the boys were looking into the huge Vaught church charity thing, and Naruto was keeping an eye on them as well. Susan was doing well on her end by keeping the witnesses secure. Grace also called and expressed her appreciation and thankfulness. Vaught was going to be burned for this, but she also warned them that it meant they would seek retaliation and go down fighting. Naruto devised a strategy to ensure that the target was placed on him rather than Grace or Susan. He was currently seated against a tree, scribbling notes in a notebook while observing the event. He'd spent the last few days keeping a careful eye on Vaught and the rest of the Seven, compiling personality profiles on them. The more he learned about them, the better he would be able to bring them down. Homelander. A severely egotistical, unstable, and psychotic individual who lacks empathy. Brutal and forceful, yet intelligent and endearing. There is no digital or hardcopy record of a previous life or existence prior to emerging as a hero, which suggests two things. 1. Vaught made it a point to destroy any traces of Homelander's past. 2. He was a lab-raised soup that Vaught carefully cultivated into their own mascot. Could explain possible psychological traits such as a lack of comprehension of love and humanity, causing him to be sociopathic and amoral. Is unconcerned about mankind. Conversations and recordings with Madeline Stillwell reveal a link and the possibility of a little Oedipus complex. Superman-like abilities with no discernible flaws, yet unable to see through zinc and with a top speed of Mach 2. Take note. Lightning did appear to function. The possibility of severe consequences could deter him. Supersonic punches or speed armor-infused assaults are two possible alternatives. The threat level is high. The deep, unethical and deceptive. Keep in mind that he is the least valuable member of the Seven. He had little regard for the ladies he manipulated. He's a sycophant. Poor abilities centered on the ability to swim and communicate with sea creatures. Although he has improved strength, he is the weakest of the Seven. Threat level. 0 A train. self-centered, hotshot, more concerned with fame, riches, and exposure than with helping others. Lack of empathy, maybe leading to sociopathy. Careless, with little regret or callousness. Has feelings for his girlfriend, but it does not seem to outweigh his desire for fame and to remain in the spotlight. When pushed on his own, he is insecure and lacks self-confidence. He needs public approval to alleviate his insecurity. When confronted with fight, a coward who will flee if unable to manage it. Although he is the fastest man alive, his top speed is only Mach 1.5. Compound V is used to increase speed, however there is a risk of negative effects such as decreased health. The threat level is low. The most notable anomaly is Black Noir. There was almost no trace of him. Vaught appears to be his most devoted follower. Quiet loner, possibly socially isolated. According to reports and Vaught server information, he is completely brutal towards foes while caring about innocent lives. Animal care is a possibility. When it comes to using deadly force to take down targets, there is no hesitation. Mute is a possibility. Proceed with caution. The Vaught file on Black Noir suggests regenerative healing factor, superhuman strength, durability, improved speed, agility, superhuman reflexes, and is a superb martial artist with a knife expertise. Batman-like. More information is required to proceed. The threat level is moderate. Annie January is Starlight's real name. The only true good superhero on the team. An idealist, yet a real superhero who wants to assist people and believes in doing what is right. He is unconcerned about notoriety. Potential ally. A prime option for speaking with and assisting in the downfall of Vaught. Linda-like abilities include the ability to absorb electrical energy and emit beams of light, most likely plasma. It is also stronger and more durable. Threat level 0. Queen Maeve's public persona is that of a warrior, feminist, humanitarian, and role model. The Seven's second most powerful member. Maeve appears to be indifferent, disengaged, disillusioned, and cynical based on audio data. Data suggests that she was once a dedicated idealist, but has since become comfortable in the Seven and Vaught's corruption, keeping silent on the sidelines. Alcoholic. As seen in the film, he has a genuine desire to save people and regrets voting with Homelander. Possibility of self-awareness of her actions and their severity. Super strength, durability, improved speed, agility, stamina, and martial arts are among the abilities. Another potential recruit to assist in taking down Vaught if a suitable conversation could be held. The threat level is low. Deceased or missing, translucent. There has been no word on a probable Seven replacement. Naruto kept watching the event until he noticed Maeve go away during Homelander's address. It appears that his personality profile was correct. Maeve appeared to be still upset over what she had let to happen. This could be a technique for him to persuade her to assist him. Homelander tracked Maeve down and discovered her seated on a bench overlooking the river. "Where do you go?" he inquired. "The only thing I despise more than blubbering people are dull speeches," she replied. "Right. Remember that nut job in Albany last year? Killed his wife and came out of the house with a gun pointed at his daughter's head. Cops pissed their pants, didn't know what to do, and then you step up, very calmly, ask for the sergeant's Bic pen, and fling it 26 yards, right into the asshole's eyeball. Dead shot, dead shooter. What's your point?" Maeve inquired. "My point is that you took action, Maeve, and that's what I admire about you," Homelander said, but she wasn't convinced. "Look, Maeve, nobody wanted that plane to crash the way it did, of course not, and now. We have to make the best of it, or else. Well, it was all for nothing." "What did I tell you about boring speeches?" asked Maeve. "Well, Maeve, buck up, because we've got someone coming after us," Homelander said. "What do you mean?" she inquired. "Translucent is dead. The Deep discovered his body in the Hudson locked up in a giant zinc crate. We weren't sure who killed him, but whoever it was had to be strong and fast. Like the Blur who outraced a train at his race. And that same Blur just happened to break into Vaught and attack Madeline a few days ago," Homelander told her. "Who is the Blur?" pondered Maeve. "I'm not sure, but whoever they are, they're going to regret ever messing with the Seven, and I need you to be on your A game for that," Homelander said as he stood up to depart. "This Blur. He outraced you, didn't he?" she said, but Homelander didn't respond and simply departed. Naruto observed their talk and body language with a critical eye. Homelander was still Homelander, but Maeve was definitely guilty. She appeared to have a history with Homelander, but the two were essentially simply teammates. They weren't close, which may be his way of convincing Maeve to flip against them, but keeping an eye on her to learn more about her would be beneficial, so that's what he did. Stan Edgar was seated at his desk in Vaught Tower, poring over security camera footage and even satellite scans of the enigmatic lightning blur that had eluded them for some time. While the blur remained a mystery, they had discovered some information. Whoever the blur was believed to be a male with extraordinary speed, appearing as a blur on high-speed cameras and outrunning a train and shockwave. If what Homelander said Madeline is accurate, this could be the person who killed Translucent. Edgar was doubtful, but it made more sense after Madeline revealed that the blur had broken into their building and attacked her. Homelander pursued him but lost him during the struggle, allowing this blur to outtrace Homelander and restrain him long enough for him to flee. This blur, whomever he was now a top priority and needed to be kidnapped or eliminated. Unfortunately, they still didn't know who this blur was, and given how he got inside the building without notifying security, everyone was on high alert. Because no tactical black operations squad could handle a soup, Edgar's best individuals for the job were the Seven. But because the Seven were without a member, they required extra firepower, and he knew just the person to fill that void. Edgar took out his phone and phoned a number. "Hello, Stormfront? Do you have a few moments to talk?" A train and Black Noir headed to crime analytics in Vaught to search up someone, who happened to be Frenchie. A train was stewing in his own puddle of regret over what he had to do with Popclaw when he accidentally discovered the recordings of Popclaw killing the building super and then strolling in on Frenchie. He sent the video to crime analytics to see what they could come up with. With 34 addresses and at least a dozen aliases, who the hell is this guy? A criminal analyst asked Noir and A Train. A Train explained, "Something we're running down on our own." Since when do you guys run down stuff alone? Trevor. Shut up. A Train said after reviewing the information they had on this individual and deciding to begin tracking him down. Naruto is back. It was late, and he had spent the day keeping a close check on Maeve. It could be called snooping, and he learned a lot. Naruto observed via the bugs he had in the system that she drank a much when she returned to Vaught. Enough to make Tsunade blush. She then went out and did a heroic deed by stopping a mugging before arriving at Alina's apartment. She and Maeve must have dated many years ago, but their romance ended in disaster. Maeve must have gone there out of remorse or simply needed someone to talk to because the two hadn't spoken in years.
The dialogue was tough to see and, no doubt, even more difficult for both women to endure. Maeve definitely still had feelings for Elena, but due to Vaught or other factors, they had to call it quits, which is when she began dating Homelander. Maeve appeared to have a nervous breakdown when Elena mentioned the ivory penthouse, doing whatever she wanted, and heading to Homelander. Maeve's heart was trapped, despite her stony appearance. In some ways, she reminds me of Jessica Jones. And considering her alcoholism, that's a reasonable comparison. Naruto realized at that moment that Maeve was someone worth talking to and that he could assist her. Unfortunately, he was interrupted in his epiphany moment when he discovered that Vaught's crime analytics had run Frenchie's face and aliases through their system. Naruto needed to go help him because they were after him.
After learning from one of his associates that he was possibly burned, Frenchie packed up and deleted any digital trace he had on him. He packed his belongings and prepared to depart, letting the female go, and even though he expected her to stay, she fled. Not deterred, Frenchie headed down an alleyway to find a car to go when he noticed Black Noir on the rooftops and took cover behind a garbage. He gently peered out and noticed Black Noir was gone before turning around and moving in the opposite direction when Black Noir hopped onto a car and ran over to him. When the female who had returned hit Black Noir from the side and knocked him into a garbage can, Frenchie turned to flee. She motioned to Frenchie to run while Black Noir stood up and squared off against the female. He pulled out some knives, and the two wrestled, with the female climbing up his back and onto his shoulders, clawing at his mask. She then used her incredible power to claw his side before Black Noir flung her off. As Black Noir threw many knives and succeeded to hit her as she jumped in the air, she rushed to the side and jumped off a wall. When he was suddenly hit and knocked to the ground, Black Noir managed to slice her in the side, impale her foot with a knife, and then gut her with his sword. He stood up and noticed a man with blonde spiky hair staring at him. Naruto mocked, "Not bad, Black Noir. Let's see how you do against me." Black Noir tilted his head, perplexed, before hurling a knife at Naruto's skull. It would have hit him if Naruto hadn't grabbed it and thrown it back at Noir at super speed, hitting him in the shoulder. Noir let out a horrified cry as he pulled out the knife and glanced at Naruto. Is that all you've got? Naruto asked, approaching Noir as he drew out another knife and attacked. Noir swiped and sliced with numerous rapid blows, which Naruto easily dodged and deflected before ducking under a slash to the head and hitting Noir in the side with a roundhouse kick, followed by a spinning hook kick to the head. Noir regained consciousness and attempted to stab Naruto in the side with a knife, but Naruto seized his wrist and headbutted him, which was an error. Shit, that's a hard helmet. He swiftly backed up to avoid a slice to the nose and fist kicked Noir in the chest before landing a leaping punch to his face and hurled him against a wall. Noir stood up and glanced at Naruto, attempting to figure out how to best take him down. You're good, Noir. I'll admit it, you've got some skill. More than the rest of the idiots in the Seven, but the name is just stupid. You realized you call yourself Black Film, right? Noir means black film in French, so it's really just stupid and not exactly a good name considering you're not a film noir character. How about something not stupid or more fitting? Naruto joked as he dodged and blocked Noir's attacks before, don't like black knife. How about knife guy, or dark blade? Not too bad. During the fight, Naruto's quips and humorous taunting did nothing to stop Noir's assaults, which was what Naruto's training and super speed were for. He parried and blocked all of Noir's assaults, slashing and cutting him all over his body. He deflected Noir's head stab and sliced his wrist before slashing his arm, 2 at the side, 1 in the rear of the left leg, and the final one on the Achilles tendon on the right foot before hitting a roundhouse kick to the back of the skull. When Naruto saw Noir stand up, he threw the knife away. Huh. Guess you do have a healing factor and are super tough. Well, thanks for the workout but let's call it a day for now. Naruto grabbed Black Noir and sped away, dropping him off on Liberty Island near the Statue of Liberty before racing back to check on the woman who had died. Oh, no, Frenchie hurried over to find the female dead with a large knife wound in her stomach. Naruto felt for her pulse, but there was none. When she awoke with a gasp, Naruto told him, she's gone. Frenchie took off his jacket and draped it over her. That's when Frenchie and Naruto noticed her wounds healing as if nothing had occurred. Whoa. The woman grasped Frenchie's arm and looked to be telling him something while saying nothing. Frenchie smiled as he grasped her hand. A miracle, and you are a miracle. When Naruto spotted Frenchie's skeptical gaze, he continued, a miracle with regenerative powers. Don't worry, I'm on your side. I'm working with Grace Mallory. Mallory? Frenchie inquired. Her and Susan Rayner, the current deputy director. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. C'est un plaisir de vous rencontrer, Frenchie. Naruto said in excellent French. Enchanté de vous rencontrer, Naruto, Frenchie responded, nice to meet you. How did you find out about me? I have a bug at Vaught, and it picked up that they were running your information through their system, so I came to help, Naruto explained as he and Frenchie assisted the woman in standing. Vaught has you in the system, so your other safehouses are most likely burned. What's the plan, then? Frenchie questioned as Naruto grabbed him and the female by the back of the head. What exactly are you doing? Holding your heads so you don't get whiplash. Hang on. Naruto sped them through the city till he got back at his room in the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. Frenchie and the female were both affected by whiplash and motion nausea, with Frenchie racing over to a neighboring wastebasket and puking. Sorry, that's a normal person side effect. When Frenchie understood where they were, he wiped his mouth. A hotel? Yeah. I've been staying here for a while under an alias. You'll be safe here for now and can get some rest. Naruto tossed him a water bottle before throwing one to the female. Thank you, answered Frenchie. There's a bathroom over there you can use to wash up, Naruto said as she drank from the water. Can she understand me? I believe so. I haven't been able to get her to say anything, but I believe she understands English, Frenchie responded as Naruto gazed at the female and she returned his gaze. Nihongo ga wakaramasu ka? Says the speaker. Naruto asked if she understood Japanese, and based on her eager nodding, he was on the correct track. Japanese? Frenchie inquired, and Naruto agreed. Watashi wa tomodachi desu. Sji ni sukeru bisurmu ga aramasu, Naruto said. He introduced himself as Naruto. I'm a close friend. There is a bathroom where you may clean up. She nodded and walked over to the restroom to freshen up. She's Japanese, which is good to know, Frenchie mumbled. I'll give you a second to settle in, Naruto remarked, grabbing a drink for himself. No, I'm fine. I'm used to things like this, Frenchie assured him as he reached into his pocket for a hidden knife. Relax, Frenchie. I'm on your side. Naruto pulled out his phone and dialed a number. He signaled for Frenchie to wait a few seconds as the phone continued to ring before being answered. Hey, sorry to bother you, but I've got one of the boys here and could use your help assuring him on his side. I did save his butt, but I'm guessing he and the others aren't that big on superheroes, which I get. It's Frenchie. Sure, here. Naruto handed him his phone, and Frenchie didn't reach out to take it right away, but he did eventually. Hello? Hello, Frenchie, how have you been? Susan inquired. Madam Raynor, is that really you? Frenchie inquired. Queens, 2012. Bank heist versus Behemoth, she explained. Yes, it's you. So, the CIA has a soup working for them? Frenchie questioned, gazing across at Naruto, who was just smiling. I'm not a soup like the Vaught brand, believe me, Naruto said. In fact, I've been making life hell for them for the past few weeks. He's not. His story is beyond complicated, so I'm not even going to go into it on the phone, but he hasn't let us down yet. In fact, he's been providing us with valuable Vaught intel, so he's on our side, but keep an eye on him, Susan informed Frenchie. I appreciate your trust in me, Susan, and I'm not offended that you think I'd screw you over, Naruto remarked as Susan hung up and Frenchie handed him his phone back. I mean it. It means a lot how little faith I have. Don't take it personally. We don't have a good history with soups, Frenchie said, recalling what occurred with a train in the underground and witnessing the same lightning around Naruto when Black Noir vanished. You were the lightning that grabbed a train? Yeah. I was following him to see how far this whole Compound V thing went, Naruto replied, startling Frenchie with his knowledge of the situation. I know a lot. Get settled in. We have a lot to talk about. The following day, Butcher, MM, and Huey were stationed outside the Mandarin Oriental Hotel's freight door because Frenchie had texted them and asked them to meet him there. The three of them were sitting in a car, waiting for Frenchie to arrive. You don't think Frenchie got a hotel room up here, do you? Inquired. Butcher answered, in this place? I doubt it. Too bad. I've always wanted to spend the night here, but it's a little out of my price range, Huey commented as the workers in the freight lobby began to depart, either for other duties or breaks, and Frenchie was seen wearing new clothes. He motioned for them to get out of the car and walk over. Follow me to the elevator, Frenchie said, bringing them past the hotel's freight and back door into one of the halls near the main lobby. Inquired, did you get a room here, Frenchie? Not exactly. Don't worry, the cameras are on a loop for the time being, Frenchie said as they boarded the elevator. How did you get into this place, Frenchie? Butcher inquired as they approached their floor and Frenchie led them along the hall. They passed another floor's resident, who smiled, and then a maid, who didn't even look at them. I didn't. A friend did. Frenchie opened the door to the suite and led them in, taking one more look down the corridor before closing it. He's right over here. Who's here? Butcher said as they passed through the suite and into the kitchen, where they noticed the female enjoying breakfast with someone on the couch. She was freshly washed and dressed in new, clean clothes, eating pancakes as the person next to her sipped coffee. Butcher and had never met the man, but Huey had. Naruto? Hey, Huey. Make yourself at home. There's plenty of food here, so sit down and relax, Naruto said as Frenchie approached and poured himself a cup of coffee. Huey, do you know this guy? Butcher inquired. Yeah, I met him on the same park bench where I met Starlight. Naruto, what are you doing here? Huey inquired. Sitting, watching TV, sipping some coffee. Help yourself to some breakfast. Don't worry about paying for it, it's all taken care of. My personal recommendation is the lox and bagels or scones, Naruto explained. Oh, scones. Came over and took a bite. Oh, that's good. Butcher remarked, Frenchie, what the hell is going on here, and who the bloody hell is Porcupine Head? Relax, Butcher. I'm on your side. I'm a friend. I'm working with Grace Mallory and Susan Raynor of the CIA to get you to relax, Naruto said. It's true. Susan endorsed him, Frenchie remarked. What are you? Special Forces? Corporate whistleblower? Former Vaught employee? Inquired. Naruto responded, tri-dimensional traveling speedster superhero from another Earth in the multiverse. Excuse me? Huey was perplexed. Let me explain, Naruto said as he told the boys about his past and story. He had mentioned this to Frenchie the night before, and since he had been performing this multiversal travel thing for so long, it had become a habit of his. He should film himself saying this so he doesn't have to keep repeating himself on every planet he visits. While he wasn't sure if they believed him, the fact that Susan Rayner and Grace Mallory vouched for him was enough to keep them from attacking him. You really expect us to believe that load of crock and that you're traveling dimensions and other Earths to help people? Butcher remarked, stunned. I'm not doing this for fun and games. I told you that I was knocked from my Earth, so I'm making my way back. I ended up here, but seeing the crap and potential nightmare that Vaught and the soups are, I stuck around to help. You can call Susan and she can vouch for me yet again. Naruto told him, pulling out photos of a train and Popclaw using Compound V. Like what? Butcher questioned. There's the fraud, Compound V, and a slew of murders, blackmail, and unbelievable shit you wouldn't believe, Naruto replied. You know about Compound V? Huey inquired, and Naruto nodded. Vaught's super steroidal compound that makes soups that they inject in infants disguised as polio vaccines using Samaritan's Embrace as a cover. Naruto stated, assuming Butcher and had recently discovered it. You just discovered that, huh? Susan already knew about Compound V when you showed her the photos of a train and Popclaw, and she came to me to help figure out what they were doing and how else this plays out. And? Inquired Frenchie. I'm still working on some theories, but without more evidence, it's just speculation at this point, Naruto said, pointing to the female sitting on the couch and eating a bagel. Whatever is going on, it's most likely Homelander and maybe Madeline Stillwell, but I'm not sure if everyone at Vaught is on the Compound V deliveries a train was doing. Perhaps we should review all of the information we have. It might be a better way for us to figure out what's going on, offered. Butcher asked him, so, you're ready to work with a soup? Just a cheery Brit, isn't he? Naruto said, to which Huey shrugged. Look, I understand you don't trust soups, and after reading up on what happened, I can't blame you, but I'm not them. Considering that since I've been here, I've made it my mission to embarrass Vaught in the 7. I humiliated a train twice, once at the race and the other when he was trying to kill her, and then I took Homelander for a run down the coast and knocked him into the water without. Huey was surprised to hear, you outtraced Homelander? Homelander can only travel twice the speed of sound, whereas I can travel 12 times that and I've only had my powers for a year. I can easily outtrace every single member of the 7, and Vaught still has no idea who I am. I'm here to help, Naruto told them. Well, isn't this just a bloody miracle? Butcher questioned, and what do you get out of this arrangement you have with Mallory? If you don't even live here, what's the point of getting involved in our shit of a world? Because, unlike the addicts and sociopaths Vaught hires as superheroes, I actually believe in what that means. Call me idealistic or naive, but I help people because it's the right thing to do, Naruto replied. Well, aren't you just Mary fucking Poppins? You hear that, lads? Barney here wants everyone to love everyone. Isn't that sweet? Butcher sneered. You know what I think? I think you're full of shit. I think you help people not because it's the right thing to do, but because, like all the other soups out there, you enjoy playing God. Just a cheery guy, isn't he? Naruto asked the others. I'm not a soup, Butcher. I'm just someone with super speed who wants to help people. If you don't believe that, fine. I'm not going to keep you here, and I'm not going to turn you into Vaught, but I'm here to help, and together we can accomplish a lot more. And what exactly do you think we can do? Butcher inquired. For starters, expose Vaught's dealings with Compound V and all the other horrible things they've done before they get what they want. You guys have done great on your own, but you can't handle the rest of Vaught in the 7 without some help, Naruto said. Butcher said, you're just full of sunshine and rainbows, aren't you? Well, my girlfriend says I'm more of an optimistic realist, but that's fine, Naruto said. You've got a bird waiting for you on your Earth? How you'd get her? Show up to save the day and never left her side, watching her whenever you get the chance. I bet if you're as fast as you say you are, you keep a watchful eye over her so she does what you want when you want. Butcher said only for Naruto's fists to tighten. Implored, Butcher, take it easy man. Any woman who willingly dates a soup has to be either the most insane fangirl groupie ever or just as much a raging bitch as the other birds who date soups here. Crash. Butcher's sentence was stopped short when Naruto threw him into a wall with such force that he nearly passed through it before catching him by the neck with his hands. As Butcher tried to breathe, lightning flashed around him. As Frenchie moved in front of him, pulled out his revolver and leveled it towards Naruto. Frenchie, get out of the way. Naruto, let him go, Frenchie exclaimed as Butcher strained for air and attempted to escape. Naruto, come on. Let him go. Huey hurried up and tried to pull Naruto's arm away, but he wouldn't budge. Butcher managed to remark, he's no different. different than the other soups. You're not helping, Butcher, Huey exclaimed as Naruto drew Butcher in close. I heard about what happened to your wife, and I'm truly sorry. I'll help you get revenge against Homelander, but mark my words. If you ever say anything about Linda like that again, I'll show just how bad I can be, Naruto warned, his eyes glowing and his voice vibrating at the end to emphasize how serious he was. Butcher went to his knees as he released Go, coughing up a lung and catching his breath. I swear, Butcher, if you disrespect her, I'll throw you into a volcano. As everyone waited to see how Butcher would react, dropped his gun, but the man simply stood up and straightened his jacket. I guess we're on the same page now. XXXXX line break. Naruto was officially introduced to the boys following the stressful scenario in the hotel room. Meeting the CIA's crack squad on Soups was strange to say the least, and they were unmistakably unique. Butcher was. Well, Susan told him everything he needed to know about Butcher, and he was the boisterous, rude, condescending, unapologetic idiot she predicted. Sure, he's single-minded, but he's also effective and surprisingly clever. Or Mother's Milk, was the group's big brother brain. Intelligent and well-connected. Frenchie was a brilliant scientist and engineer who dabbled in the illegal drug and gun trade, but supposedly there was no one better or smarter to create weapons against Soups. And Huey? Well, Huey appeared out of place. The boys had done well thus far considering what they were up against, but with Naruto around, it was time to move on. He bought them some necessities, such as food and papers, while set up a presentation board. While Naruto and the others were watching MM's presentation, the female began drawing something on the couch. Samaritan's Embrace, led by Ezekiel but funded by Vaught, has been shipping Compound V to 53 hospitals across the country and gift wrapping it since 1971. Came to a halt as the female approached and messed with his perfectly organized piles of papers and markers. It was conceivable that suffered from OCD, wrapping it in polio vaccine. Are you telling me that God's not reaching up the twats of American girls and blessing babies? Butcher joked. Asked, Butcher, can you leave God out of this? Hold on. So, no hero was born? None of them? Butcher said to Huey, even fucking Starlight. Do you think they know what happened to them? Huey asked. I'm going with no, Naruto stated, drawing blank stares from everyone. According to the information I was able to dig up on Compound V and all of this Samaritan's Embrace cover, Vaught works around the clock to keep this hidden, with no digital trail, all hardcopy, and quadruple the amount of security as they have on their other projects. Yet you were able to get information in a sample? Frenchie questioned. Vaught's security is good for this world, but amateurish compared to mine. A little digital cloaking with super speed and it's like I was never there. Naruto explained. I'm more surprised that no one questioned Vaught's claims. I mean, no offense to anyone who believes in God, but given all the crap humanity has done to itself, I highly doubt he'll bless people with superpowers. I guess people enjoy being ignorant. How about Homelander? Butcher pondered. Homelander's a black hole. Never had any public records and never will, but every other soup, juiced up lab rats, said as the female knocked over more files to acquire some paper. My God, I'm trying to give a fantastic fucking TED talk here, and this. Frenchie, could you please control her? I don't have control over her, Frenchie explained. Naruto? Inquired, and he simply shrugged. Do you see what I'm dealing with? We got Vaught for child endangerment, drug trafficking, and possibly the biggest fraud in American fucking history, Butcher remarked. Susan's been working on the charges to bring against Vaught, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff, Naruto explained, but there's still some work to be done. I have another angle to play that could get us some corporate whistleblowers. We've had experience with blackmail, and it didn't end well, said. No, not blackmail. All of this is good, and we've been able to prove as much of it as we can, but Vaught's not going to take this lying down. The second the charges are brought against them, they'll close ranks and find a sacrificial lamb to pin all of this crap on to keep things going, Naruto said. Butcher had to admit, that's not a bad point. Ah, you're warming up to me already, Butcher, Naruto joked, leading Huey, and Frenchie to laugh. Getting some help from people inside Vaught could help us take them down as well as provide us with backup if Vaught decides to cut their losses and let Homelander go. What do you mean? Huey questioned. Homelander is Vaught's biggest defense right now, and he's someone who won't think twice about killing anyone Vaught or Madeline Stillwell tells him to if they feel threatened. Naruto pulled out his phone and played an audio recording. Here, listen. The group listened to an audio file that contained a recording of Madeline Stillwell and Homelander. Homelander and Compound V were discussed before Homelander confesses to killing the mayor of Baltimore because he was blackmailing her with his knowledge of Compound V. Where did you get this? Butcher inquired. A hack into Vaught's system. Phones, internal security cameras, monitors. Basically anything connected to a network that I can control and record, Naruto replied. Susan already knows this, but if Homelander did that to protect Madeline, we don't want to imagine what he'll do to stop us. That's why you've been collaborating with the CIA to build a stronger case against Vaught, Huey explained, and Naruto nodded. Legally, going after them should be a slam dunk, but when Homelander is taken off his leash, Vaught will have no idea what monster they're about to unleash on the world, Naruto informed them. Think you could stop him? Butcher inquired. Perhaps. I'm faster than he is by a wide margin, and I did manage to knock him into the sea, but I'd need more data to know how effective I'd be against him, Naruto confessed as Huey approached the female and noticed she was painting. Hi. He knelt and picked up one of her drawings, prompting her to lunge and snarl at him. Huey, no. Frenchie warned. No, not if you're attached to that hand, no, it's okay. The woman calmed down and returned to her sketching. But there is one missing piece of the puzzle, Naruto pointed out. He's right, but what about our little Lazarus? She's not an infant, she was injected in a basement, not a hospital, and she rose from the dead, Frenchie explained. Well, your feral pixie dream girl ain't exactly dictating her fucking memoirs, is she, Frenchie? Butcher observed. I get the impression she's trying to communicate. After all, she's been doing this for. Maybe that means something, huh? Frenchie speculated. Butcher said, yeah, maybe they're just fucking chicken scratches. No, Frenchie has a point. She's not an invalid and she has powers, so he's a soup but not the traditional kind Vaught made. Some of the tests I've run do suggest that an adult can be given powers if injected with enough Compound V. They'd have to be closely monitored and injected with more than the regular doses an infant would get, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities, Naruto explained. You said she was imprisoned and injected with the V, which is how she got her regenerative powers, but I'm still not sure why, or what a Train and Homelander have to do with this. Clearly something important if they sent Black Noir after Frenchie. Yeah, but what could they be doing and what do they have to hide? Huey speculated. Not sure. There aren't exactly any records at Vaught, and she killed everyone who could give us answers, and she's not speaking. She trusts us, at least, but I can't know what happened to her and why they did this unless she speaks or writes things down in actual letters, Naruto responded. Let's find out then, Frenchie said. No, you've been burned, and it's not safe for you out there, said. Right, son. You need to fucking stay put, Butcher continued. Fantastic, whispered Frenchie. Look on the bright side, Butcher said, there could be worse places to hold up. Alright, then, I'm off. Alright, then I'll stay on Starlight, Huey said. Her phone has been ringing for a week. You don't happen to know anything about that, do you? Butcher inquired. No but I can, I can check, Huey volunteered as Butcher glanced at him again before putting on his jacket. Alright, you're on board, Butcher said. He is, inquired. I am? Huey inquired. What? To the CIA lady? No, we're going on a little detour. You'll love it. Come on, Butcher said as the two exited the suite. That's gonna go bad, isn't it? Naruto inquired, receiving nods from and Frenchie. Okay, you guys have the suite to yourselves. I'm going to dig up another lead at Vaught. Let me know if anything comes up or if you're being killed, and I'll race over. Naruto smiled and took his pack before exiting the room. He's joking, right? Inquired. I believe so, Frenchie responded, only for the female to shake her head no and say, merde. The Vaught Tower Annie or Starlight had just exited a meeting with Madeline Stillwell with a tiny smile on her face. She had just had another confrontation with Stillwell, maintained her ground, and took her life by the balls in order to get Stillwell and her vision for Starlight to back down. Stillwell wanted Starlight to play her game, but Annie wasn't having it. She entered the elevator and spotted Queen Maeve. Boy, you're really milking this thing for all it's worth, she exclaimed. Excuse me? Annie asked. This empowerment act. I mean, every time I'm on a red carpet now, they're asking me how I'm supporting Starlight, but hey, as long as you're trending, right? Maeve, perhaps a little tipsy, pointed out. I know you might not understand, but it's not an act. I'm just trying to be honest, Annie explained. Okay, yeah, Maeve said, uninterested. When I was younger, I read your autobiography so many times that I had to buy a second one because I wanted to live my life exactly like yours. Because you didn't just break all the bones in your right arm stopping that school bus from falling off a bridge, but you also went to every kid's physical therapy afterwards to show the world that they, too, were heroes. You really stood for something, Annie said as the elevator arrived on her floor. But now, I'm pretty sure that was just a marketing ploy. Annie exited the elevator, leaving Maeve something to ponder. She carried her bag out of Vaught Tower to grab something to eat. She stepped out of the building lobby and onto the street, where she noticed several Vaught ads on a nearby window display, as well as further news coverage of her Believe Expo comment. "Don't I know you from somewhere?" she asked, turning to see Naruto approach her with a teasing smile on her lips. "Yeah, I know you from somewhere. Park bench maybe? A nice conversation about crappy life choices and how to move on, perhaps? Perhaps it was at the stadium for a Vaught-sponsored race where you heckled some perverts who were messing with me," Annie speculated. "No, that's not it. I'd remember that," Naruto jokingly said. "How's it going, Annie?" "Well, as you can probably tell from watching the news recently, a lot has happened since we last spoke," she explained, pointing to the TV coverage of her words. "I figured. Awesome speech, by the way. I'm sure a lot of people were caught off guard, and I'm sure you gave Vaught a kick in the A** with that one, but may I say, well done," Naruto said with a short clap. "Thank you. I know Huey said the same thing. Have you seen him lately?" she inquired. "Yeah, I've been in New York for work, and I ran into him recently," he explained. "Do you have a second to catch up?" Sure," she said. "I was going to get something to eat and wouldn't mind the company." "Great. I know a pretty good vegan place nearby," he suggested, but based on her demeanor, she wasn't interested. Or an even better hole in the wall with fantastic pancakes. As the two strolled down the street, Annie said, "Pancakes." Naruto nodded. They talked and caught up before taking a short metro ride to a little restaurant called Jordan's Cafe. Naruto and Annie took a seat outside the cafe and ordered some pancakes. She put on some sunglasses and pulled her hair up to disguise herself, and it worked. People didn't give her a second glance. The waiter arrived with their order. A stack of strawberry pancakes for Annie, a larger stack of blueberry banana pancakes for Naruto, and a side order of bacon for everyone to enjoy. They piled on the whipped cream and maple syrup, and Annie was glad she came with Naruto to get something to eat after the first bite. "Oh my god, that is amazing." "I know, right? So glad I found this place," Naruto replied, nodding as he took another bite of his pancakes and a slice of bacon. "I don't care what anyone says, you can never go wrong with pancakes at any time of day." "Agreed," she said, sipping her coffee and resting in her chair. After all she'd gone through, it was nice to unwind. Hanging out with Huey was fun, but just having pancakes with Naruto was also enjoyable. There was also no hint of a date. "So, what kind of work have you been doing in New York? I thought you were just visiting." "I still am, but I decided to help some people with some consulting work," Naruto explained. "What kind of consulting? Are you a life coach or a motivational speaker?" "If so, it makes sense," Annie said, eliciting a chuckle from him. "No, nothing like that. I've been a scientific and corporate business practices consultant, and I've actually been assisting in the building of some cases against some really bad people," Naruto explained. "Wow, good for you, though it makes me wonder if you ran into me because you need my help," Annie said, chuckling. "I'll admit that I could use your assistance, but we can discuss that after we eat," he offered, and the two ate their pancakes. After they finished eating and Naruto paid the bill, the two simply walked till they reached a neighboring park and sat on a bench. "This brings back memories of how we first met." "A little, but I was a wreck back then," Annie pointed out. "And look at you now, kick-ass superhero who demonstrated that speaking up is just as important as kicking ass," Naruto said. "Sorry if that felt a little after-school special, but still, nice job." "Thank you. How can I assist you with your job?" she inquired, taking a big breath. "How much do you know about how you got your powers, Annie?" he inquired. "Excuse me?" She was perplexed by the sudden question. "Your powers, how did you get them?" he inquired. "I was born with them. They manifested when I was a child. I nearly blinded my mother the first time I used my powers," she explained. "That can't have been fun," he said, and she agreed. "It wasn't. It took a while, but I learned to control them, and now it's as simple as breathing," she explained. "You were curious about superheroes, weren't you?" "Not exactly," Naruto said, taking another deep breath before pulling out his phone and displaying an image of a bottle of blue liquid to her. "Does this look familiar to you at all?" She took the phone but didn't identify the vial, and Naruto could see by her facial expressions that she didn't know. "No, what exactly is it? Some kind of drug?" "A steroid, actually. It's a super steroidal compound. Dot and Vaught invented it," Naruto explained. "What?" "I'm sorry, Annie. Compound V is what gives the soups their powers. Everyone in the Seven, everyone on the planet who has powers, including you," he explained. No, we're born this way," she said, but Naruto shook his head. "No, you weren't. I'm sorry to tell you this, Annie, but everything Vaught and their charities and organizations have been telling you since birth are lies. They've been experimenting and injecting people, babies with Compound V to make soups. They've disguised Compound V as polio vaccines and have their doctors and scientists inject babies with this and then monitor them so they develop powers." No, that's not possible," Annie muttered, so Naruto showed her more evidence, including photos he took at the hospital of the baby receiving Compound vs. IV lines and an audio file of Homelander and Madeline discussing the Baltimore mayor's death as a result of his Compound V blackmail. "I'm gonna be sick." She stood up and dashed to a nearby tree, where she puked. Naruto stood up and rushed over, massaging her back and tying back her hair. "Give it a moment, I know this is a lot, Annie, and I'm sorry, but you need to know," he said. She wiped her mouth and glared accusingly at Naruto. "Was it because you knew I was with Vaught that you approached me on the park bench that day?" "No, I didn't know anything about you that day. I just thought you were someone who needed help," Naruto explained. "When I ran into you again at the stadium, it wasn't because I was tailing you, but because I was there to check on a train. I helped you because you and I are pretty much cut from the same cloth." "What the hell are you talking about?" she exclaimed, as Naruto gently grabbed her arm and dashed out of the park. They got at the pier warehouse where she and the Deep were supposed to be. She felt a rush of nausea and hunched over before vomiting again. "Damn it. I'm sorry," Naruto apologized. "I'm like you, Annie. Someone who was given powers they didn't understand at first and then used them to help people." "You're a soup. Is that how you know all of this?" she inquired. "Sort of. It's a complicated story, Annie, but I'm telling you the truth in all of this for a reason." "What is the reason?" she inquired. "Because you are a true hero," Naruto explained. "You are probably one of the only people on this planet who actually deserves the powers they were given by Vaught and hasn't let them corrupt them. Vaught doesn't manage superheroes, they just make super soldiers that they want to control. Homelander is a sociopath, Black Noir is a mute assassin working for Vaught, the Deep and Translucent were sexual predators and deviants, and a Train is a popularity-obsessed athlete." "And you're going to do that?" she inquired. "I'm working with some people who understand the threat that Vaught poses if they're not stopped. I know this is a lot to throw at you, Annie, but it's all true, and I need your help," Naruto explained. "Why would I help you? How do I know this isn't a hoax and all of it is real?" Annie questioned. "How can I put my trust in you?" "You're right. Everything I've shown you could be fake and I could be tricking you, but you have a good heart and a good head on your shoulders, Annie. If you even think for a second that anything I said could be true, you know Vaught needs to be stopped. You are Starlight, not them." Naruto pulled out a blank business card with a number on it. "Give me a call if you believe anything I said is true and you really want to be a hero. I really hope you make the right choice, Starlight." She took the business card, and he gave her one last nod before she saw a flash of lightning and found herself back in the park, but Naruto had vanished. She stared at the business card and wanted to burn it to a crisp, but there was a voice in the back of her head that kept saying, "What if he was right?" She slid it into her pocket and walked away, oblivious to the fact that things were about to get heated. The following day, Starlight entered the Seven's meeting room in Vaught Tower to find Black Noir, a Train, and Queen Maeve seated. "What's going on?" "I missed you guys. I just wanted to see your smiling faces," Homelander patted her on the back of the shoulder. "Sit down, Starlight, and, to be honest, I felt like we were overdue for a little heart-to-heart. A rap session, maybe a little tough love, but for a good reason." Maeve scoffed slightly. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means that some of you have been, a little out of sorts lately. Erratic. Unreliable. Downright sloppy. Not you, Noir. You've been great." Homelander complimented him, while Noir remained silent. "In fact, it's because of Black Noir that we now have a face to put on the single greatest threat that Vaught and the Seven are facing." Homelander pressed a remote button, and an image appeared on a display. It was a hand-drawn illustration of a man with spiky hair and 6 unique scrapes on his face. When Annie viewed the sketch, she immediately recognized Naruto, but she remarkably maintained her cool. "Who is he?" Maeve inquired. Homelander stated, "He is the one who killed Translucent. I was the one who warned that he didn't just disappear on another fucking bender, and how right I was." A Train inquired, "How do you know he killed Translucent?" "Good question, A Train. Tell me, do you remember this?" Homelander displayed still photographs from his race, revealing the lightning blur who outtraced him and Shockwave. "Because I do, and I also remember seeing that sign stuck to your back. This guy was able to outtrace you, and even the best cameras couldn't capture a clear image of him. So, we have a new runner. How are you so sure he killed Translucent?" Maeve inquired, prompting Homelander to play CCTV footage of the same lightning blur appearing around the city around the same time Translucent went missing, followed by still images of the same blur at the docks where he kicked A Train's ass. "Son of a bitch," cursed A Train. "That's right, buddy. Just as Translucent went missing, this blur appeared, and he's fast. He outtraced A Train, but he's also powerful. And dangerous. He was able to race inside the building and attack Madeline Stillwell before fleeing in the blink of an eye. His message to us was clear. He's coming after Vaught and the Seven, which means us." Homelander explained. "We've been running around like chickens with our heads cut off, but it's thanks to Black Noir that we finally have a picture of the guy." "So, who exactly is he?" A Train inquired. "The guys in crime analytics are still working on it. Facial recognition has so far been unable to get us a proper ID on this guy, which means we could be looking at a serious problem." Homelander dug his fingers into the material behind his chair, crushing it, demonstrating to everyone that he was serious about this. "So, let's all do the sensible thing. No more red carpets, no more club openings, no more fucking celebrity nonsense. Our focus is on this guy, is that clear?" When they heard footsteps and a woman chatting, everyone nodded. "Okay, guys, wish me luck. Can you believe I'm in Vaught Tower and we're about to walk into the 7 meeting room?" A woman approximately 5 feet 5 strolled in wearing a brownish-red suit and cape and live broadcasting everyone on her smartphone. "It's much larger than I expected. Awesome table, very ornate. I wonder how much that cost." Homelander gained her attention by saying, "Excuse me. Oh, my god, hello. My Nan is your biggest fan. I'm Stormfront," she said, rotating her camera to include him and the rest of the 7. Homelander answered, "Great. Oh, right, yeah. You're from Seattle, right?" Maeve inquired. Portland, actually, Your Majesty. Holy shit. Your eyes are really fucking blue up close." Stormfront got near to Homelander, which he found funny, but he was busy. You're fun. It's been a hoot, and it's nice to meet you, but we're having a private meeting here, and we could use the privacy," Homelander explained. "Oh, totally. Guess I came at the right time. So, which seat do I take?" she inquired as she walked into the table and stood next to the 2 empty seats. "Should I take Translucent's seat or the Deep's?" Homelander reminded her, "I'm sorry, but this is a meeting for the 7 only." "That's why I'm here, because I'm the new girl," she replied. "Wait a minute, what are you talking about?" Maeve inquired. "Oh, hello. I'm in the 7. Replacing Translucent. God bless his soul. Ink's barely dry, but yeah. Reporting for duty so. Fuck yeah," Stormfront said. "Well, Stormfront? I'm sorry, it's just. Usually Madeline confirms with me before we think about adding a new member to the team, so maybe this is a mistake," Homelander explained. "It's not a mistake. I'm here. Mr. Edgar, the big guy. He's the one who signed me on," she corrected herself. "I see. Great," Homelander said before clapping loudly. "If you'll excuse me for a moment." Homelander exited the meeting room, leaving everyone perplexed as to what was going on. Annie had remained silent throughout the meeting, still reeling from what Naruto had told her the day before and wondering if any of it was true. However, seeing his face appear on the monitors and Homelander inform them that he had murdered Translucent made her wonder what was going on. "Well, I think this is going great," Stormfront commented as he sat at the 7 table. Stan Edgar was sitting in his office, staring at his scientist's examination of all the video footage of this odd new lightning blur that had been appearing. The scientific research provided him with estimated top speeds, potential abilities, and a direct comparison to Homelander. He became further concerned after learning that this blur outtraced A Train before attacking Madeline, and then outtraced and stopped Homelander. Granted, You couldn't see it on his face, but it was all inside. Whoever this blur was made an enemy, and while he needed to be stopped, he was more interested in finding out who this blur was. Why couldn't they locate a facial recognition match for this man if Black Noir's photograph was correct and he got a view of this blur's face? And, more importantly, how did this blur get his abilities? These were the questions that lingered in Edgar's mind, and he suspected that Homelander's vapid scheme to get Supes into the military was one of the catalysts. He was jolted out of his reverie as his door opened and in walked Homelander, accompanied by his aide, Morning. "Dear Mr. Edgar, I apologize. That's all right, Samantha." He gave her assurance. "Good morning, Homelander. Who do I owe the pleasure to?" "Well, you never come up to 99, so I figured I'd pay you a visit," Homelander informed him. "What a lovely idea. Right. After all, you operate a superhero firm, and, do you ever check in on your superheroes? But I understand. Every supervisor has their own style of doing things. Madeline is hands-on, whereas you are hands-off and don't feel the need to notify people about your selections. As in, say, the hiring of that new girl," Homelander proposed. "You wish to be consulted on Stormfront?" Edgar inquired. "So, why not? I approved everything else. I am the Seven's leader, according to Homelander." "For which you have my undying respect," Edgar responded. "You see, I don't believe you do. Not even Madeline would have dared to do something like this," Homelander informed him. "Of course you realize how valuable you are to everyone at Vaught," Edgar informed him. No, Stan. Vaught is my name. If you display my picture to an illiterate fucking camel jockey in the Sahara, he'll turn around and say, Homelander, in perfect American. My name is Vaught. I head the Seven, and if you don't want your fucking job to be obsolete or killed, you're not going to do anything without first consulting me." Homelander told him this before kicking up his legs on his couch. "You're just a fucking corporate pencil pusher, and unless you want your stockholders to come after you, I'd recommend you do what the rest of the people in this company do. And listen to me." Stan Edgar didn't seem to respond to Homelander's assertion, which elicited a moment of silence before he posed a question. "What do you know about Frederick Vaught?" "Excuse me? Vaught, Frederick. Our illustrious forefather." Edgar indicated a photo of Vaught on the wall. "Well, I don't know, probably not much. How many times have I read his autobiography?" According to Homelander. "Not the self-serving bullshit that we peddle to the shareholders, but the real story," Edgar stated. "Enlighten me." He received his doctorate from the University of Munich. In genetics, he was much ahead of his time. As a rising young star, Hitler appointed him chief physician at Dachau in 1939, where he had a ready supply of human volunteers to test his early incarnations of Compound V. Which we denounce in the strongest terms possible. Early in 1944, he sensed a shift in the winds and was whisked away to the Allies. Dr. Vaught had practical applications of Compound V tested in the field while Oppenheimer was struggling with the bomb. Heroes like Soldier Boy were slaughtering Germans by the dozen. As a result, Roosevelt pardoned him, and he became as well known in America as Disney and Edison. Edgar told the story. "Well, this is a truly fascinating, if slightly condescending, lecture, but I'm not sure I see the point, Stan," Homelander informed him. "The point is, you have the impression that we are a superhero company. No, we are not. We are, in fact, a pharmaceutical corporation. And you are not our most important asset. That is our top secret formula for Compound V which you, as a man-child, released into the wild," according to Edgar. Homelander merely sputtered and pretended to be unconcerned. "Don't know what you're talking about." "All right, let me remind you. You smuggled Compound V to terrorists all around the world in order to get yourself and your friends involved in national defense. But perhaps at the expense of destroying the entire enterprise." Edgar chastised him, forcing Homelander to rise and walk up to his face in rage. "I don't think I like your tone, sir. Nothing much. And I don't appreciate our company and my employees being targeted by an unknown new superpower. One who appears to be considerably faster than any recorded Vaught and was able to knock you into the Atlantic Ocean like the preening man-child you are." Homelander's eyes began to glow red as Edgar pointed out. "Be careful with your next words," Homelander had forewarned him. "Do you think it's a coincidence that this mysterious soup showed up just as you in a train were doing your idiotic Compound V smuggling? Now, a train using Compound V to shoot up and make himself faster is irrelevant because it doesn't matter. If he's faster, that's great, but if he kills himself, we'll just replace him with someone who is." We can control him running through an innocent woman while high, but we can't control you supplying Compound V to terrorist groups who then use it to manufacture their own soups. You've created your own greatest adversary, and this soup outruns you and makes you appear like the foolish, self-centered, egotistical preening peacock that you are. A part of me was intrigued when I learned that he outraced you and managed to flee without you putting a finger on him, yet this blur was able to break into Vaught without our security knowing and could have murdered us all if he wanted to, but that is not his objective. He wants nothing more than to demolish Vaught, and we're racing around like crazy trying to find this soup before he strikes again and clean up the wreckage you've left. Edgar scolded him. I don't need to consult with you on Stormfront or anything else. If anything, she might be able to take care of this soup, which would be horrible for you if she did. If you don't want that to happen, you should perform your duty and catch this soup alive, if possible, but I want his body brought to me intact. If not, we'll have to reassess your value to the organization. Homelander felt absolutely weak and nothing more than an ordinary human for the first time in his life. Edgar scolded him like a child for no apparent reason, but he just accepted it. Homelander went out of the office, eager to break or kill something, and Edgar returned to work, both unconscious that they had sealed their own fates. Well, that is interesting. Gideon made the remark while still connected to Vaught's system and recording the entire conversation on the TV in Edgar's office. Just another thing to ensure Vaught's demise. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy this story, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support, and have a great day.